Bon allez, plus qu'une minute, avant la grosse révélation de GGG. Alors secret de polichinelle, hein, très probablement, ça fait très longtemps, depuis même le patch précédent, que c'est complètement cramé, que normalement c'est le rework du endgame, n'est-ce pas? Mais rework du endgame et rework des différentes mécaniques qui coexistent à l'intérieur, ça peut vouloir dire beaucoup de choses quand même. Ça peut vouloir dire beaucoup de choses. Alors, est-ce qu'ils vont aller plus loin dans leur idée d'Atlas infini avec des mécaniques qui apparaissent dessus et qu'on explore, ou est-ce qu'au contraire, ils vont retourner leur veste un petit peu et choisir la sécurité et faire un truc un peu à la Path of Exile 1? On va voir. En tout cas, je parie pas sur quoi que ce soit d'autre que ça, que le rework du endgame. Pour moi, pas de classe supplémentaire, pas d'acte supplémentaire. Pour moi, c'est très clair. Je ne demande qu'à être positivement surpris, mais on va voir. Jonathan Rogers, c'est à toi.
Path of Exile 2, and welcome to GGG Live. We have a huge amount of stuff to share today, so it's going to be a good one. Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream, so you'll be able to claim the Red Queen's font hideout decoration by following the instructions below.
Allez, let's go.
So with that out of the way, time to roll the trailer for Path of Exile 2, Return of the Ancients.
Those in darkness who once lay dormant now return. We who came before rise.
Celle-là, elle avait de la gueule quand même. Hein.
Behold, the first edict.
Ritual rework, ok. Ça, c'était avec les teasers. Hein. Pinnacle Boss, ok, c'est une extension en fait de tout en mode Pinnacle. Walking the Dreamer. Oh! Les trucs géographiquement. L'arbre de Genesis, celui du 1. Celui du 1. Ah, la position de la cam. Ah, merde. Peut-être comme ça. Ouais, donc en fait, toutes les mécaniques ont des quêtes, Pinnacle Boss et compagnie, quoi. Ok. Donc ça a l'air d'aller plutôt dans la direction de plus loin de quelque chose qu'on connaît déjà. Delirium, Pinnacle Boss, ok, c'est ça. Rune of Aldur, avec la petite ligue, ok. Ah, c'est plutôt donc la première solution, hein, où ils vont plus loin. Expedition Rework, ok. Explore the Ocean, hein, ils vont plus loin dans leur idée de l'Atlas. Pinnacle Boss, voilà, ok. Master the Atlas.
Continue the search. See what you can find.
Atlas Class. Val Temple to Core, ok. Des abysses, des trucs géographiquement localisés, c'est ce dont je vous parlais, j'en étais sûr. Atlas Passive Tree qui va avec, bien entendu. Des trucs qui sont géographiquement localisés sur l'Atlas, ça faisait des mois que je vous disais que je voulais ça. Spirit Walker Ascendancy, ok. Ouais, des petites ascendances supplémentaires. Puis après, voilà. Là. Le packaging habituel, les uniques, les machins, et compagnie et compagnie. Ça faisait des mois que je disais que j'espérais qu'ils étendraient tout ça et qu'on aurait vraiment des mécaniques géographiquement localisées sur l'Atlas. On va voir ce qu'ils vont nous dire, mais en tout cas, ça a l'air d'être complètement ça. Hein. Ça a l'air d'être complètement ça.
So as you can see, there's just so much going on in Return of the Ancients, it's hard for even us to keep track of it all. Now, we promised that this one was going to revamp the endgame, and I'm very excited to talk about it. But first, we've got to talk about the League. So to do that, I'm going to hand things over to Mark.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile. Now, for those of you who are new to Path of Exile, each time we release an update, we also release a new league. Not only do we have a new economy, but we also introduce new content through the campaign, which gives you a fresh play experience right from the start of the game, as well as new mechanics, storylines, and in-game bosses.
Vas-y, on commence avec l'apéritif, à savoir la mécanique de ligue.
You will encounter a man being attacked by the undead in Clearfell. After saving him, he introduces himself as Pharaoh, a young blacksmith trying to bring back the ancient art of Ezomite runesmithing. He has been collating his discoveries in a tome and is keen to show you how runesmithing works. By inscribing symbols on these ancient Ezomite remnants, you can create all manner of old magics. Unfortunately, on doing so, the corpses of the nearby undead are revived and infused with some of the latent power, making for a difficult fight. After defeating these monsters, Pharaoh realizes that runesmithing is a dangerous business, and he is going to need the help of someone a little more martially inclined to discover these secrets. He lends you his tome and asks that you note down anything you discover when you return to him. In each area in the Runes of Aldur League, you will find a remnant, and as you approach it, you will notice that some symbols are already present, and some are waiting for you to fill them in. Depending on which symbols are already present, you will have different options for which items you can create using this magic. For example, if you combine Tempest and Lightning, you can create an Orb of Augmentation.
Crafter des petites orbes de manière déterministe, c'est sympa, hein, au début de ligue.
But be careful. The symbols used to craft the items also empower the monsters around the remnant, who will be revived as undead to fight again with different properties depending on what runes you used. So, if you use a fire rune in your recipe, the monsters will be empowered with fire. Or if you use a moon rune, lunar beams will rain down as you fight the monsters.
Le fait qu'on sache à quoi s'attendre, par contre, c'est bien ça. Ok, il y a du risque, mais il est contrôlé. SSF friendly, pas hardcore friendly. Bon,
break the
voilà.
remnant to receive the item you crafted. As you get higher level, you will start to find remnants with more slots for more runes, allowing you to craft rarer items. As the number of slots increases though, more waves of monsters will be added.
Et puis après, évidemment, ça va partir en slice.
And more of the runes.
Ah, parce que, plus de runes après, c'est-à-dire que les trucs... Tiens, il y a du Verisium qui vient de tomber au sol.
And this can get pretty dicey, because some of the runes can have powerful effects.
Avec les trucs avec 25 runes, évidemment, ça va être quelque chose, ouais.
Like the Oath rune, which will cause one monster to be nominated as a leader, spawning waves of minions. The leader itself will be invincible, but killing its minions will deal damage to it.
Ouais, alors en hardcore, jamais de la vie je reste au milieu, moi. Jamais de la vie. Hein. Moi je me tire à 20 km et puis on attaque les mobs un par un. Greater Chaos
Some recipes can get pretty large, requiring 6, 7,
Skill Gem niveau 20
or even 8 runes.
Alors ça, en hardcore SSF, ça
But
va être
don't
la
worry,
fête, là. Hein.
You won't have to remember them. Pharaoh's runecrafting book will record all the options, allowing you to simply pick which one you want to craft, given the existing runes that are already on the remnant. To expand your knowledge and to allow you to craft more items, Pharaoh has asked that you keep an eye out for signs of runic magic around Rayclost. He wants to document anything you find in order to rediscover the secrets of Ezomite runesmiths of old. The first of these can be found in Ogham, and reveals to you an ancient secret, buried deep underground. The runic magic which the Ezomites believe to be their own is actually of Kalguran origin. Thousands of years ago, the Kalgurans came to Rayclass to find sources of verisium, a metal on which engraved runes allow control over reality. Pharaoh is determined to learn these ancient ways and gain mastery over them. If you can bring him more verisium, he'll be able to use it to smith power into any armor, granting you runic ward, the power harnessed by the Kalgurans since ancient times. Runic ward is a new resource that protects you from death. Should you run out of life, your runic ward will kick in, sustaining your body until your life can return. It effectively acts as an extra life pool.
Ça va être quelque
course,
chose.
Should you take enough damage to run out of that, you will still die. Every single piece of armor in the game can be upgraded this way. Even uniques. Some are just a strict upgrade, giving runic ward with no downside. Others are more extreme, sacrificing defenses to get a much larger amount of runic ward. There are even some that add new modifiers to uniques entirely, making them much more viable for higher level play. But the Kalgurans use runic ward for more than just a defense. It can also be used to power many other magics. Instead of using gems created from corruption, the Kalgurans
certaines mécaniques de one shot du coup
fuel them with runic ward.
Peuvent être
Many of the options
tankées.
available from remnant crafting are new types of Kalguran skills that exclusively spend runic ward to wreak havoc. An example is Triskelion Cascade. Using it will cause your next spell to be triggered multiple times in a Triskelion pattern. You can use it with skills like Ice Nova that you cast from yourself.
Ou alors ça en softcore trade, ça va partir en couille, ça. Hein. Ça, je vous le dis. Hein. Pro, alors ça.
There are also skills to modify existing effects using runic magic, like Frost Flame Nova. Using this skill on a pack of burning enemies will transform the Ignite into Frostfire, both burning them and building up freeze at the same time. You have basic buffs like Hollow Shell that guards all nearby allies, to more complicated mechanics like the Mark of Repulsion that creates a mark capable of pushing away all nearby enemies. Instead of spending mana, like skill gems do, all these skills cost runic ward, and unlike gems, they don't have a color. This means that they don't care about attribute requirements, or what kind of weapon you use. These skills are designed to be used on any class, and so often interact with mechanics that apply across many characters.
Peut-être des additions pour les builds qui existent déjà, ça peut être sympa.
The Kalgurans were able to support their runic abilities, and you can as well. There is also a set of runic supports that can be combined with regular skill gems in interesting ways. Concussive Runes allows you to add these concussive shockwaves to any skill that stuns. While Runic Infusion lets you spend ward to directly empower the damage on any skill. Now, there are other quests during the campaign too, that unlock even more interesting crafting methods. Buried deep in the jungle in Act 3, you can find the Mystic Refuge, containing even more secrets for Pharaoh to learn from. Using this knowledge, he gains the ability to reforge unique weapons. With this technique, many low-level unique weapons can be upgraded to do significantly more damage.
Ah
Now,
ouais?
we've been able to take a bunch of uniques that had interesting modifiers,
Oh,
but were not
on
in-game
peut
viable,
faire en
and
sorte
give
que
them a bit of
les
a boost to get there. And it's not just
transformer
low-level
des low
uniques.
level
All
uniques en
Calgarian
plus
uniques
grands.
are able to be runeforged this way too, and they can do some pretty interesting things. Like Searle's Grit, a new unique, which when runeforged can get one of several different outcomes. Now, there is still so much more that you can craft with remnants. There are also 100 new runes, as well as many other new crafting
100?
currencies. This is the runes of Eldur after all, and some of these runes have quite powerful effects. For example, this elemental conversion rune will convert all the existing mods on a non-unique weapon from one element to another. Using it, you could combine a weapon with all 3 elemental damage mods into a single element, making a weapon with massive amounts of cold damage.
Oh là 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 là, pour se faire des
There is
builds
also a rune that
monolithiques,
lets
ça va
you
être sympa
destroy
ça,
your
tiens.
rune sockets to turn them into a dual socket on your item.
Bon, SSF c'est pas très
And
utile, mais
there are even crafting meta runes that can unlock new types of mods when used with regular crafting. For example, this rune of chronomancy will unlock a set of time-related mods to be crafted on your boots. Once placed inside, use regular crafting orbs to attempt to get new mods like cooldown speed or increased skill effectuation. You can also create a new type of currency called
alors
alloys.
ça c'est le truc de
Using
PWDB
regular
ça,
metals
hein. Là, ça va
alloyed
être
with
la
verisium,
PWDB League.
new modifiers not normally available can be directly crafted onto your items. Using imbued alloy could improve your ailment damage, for example. There are honestly so many options here that unlock all sorts of crazy crafting projects. So I think people will be experimenting with these for a long time. Once you get to King's March in Act 4, Pharaoh finally meets Danig, a real Kalguran runesmith. And riddled with excitement, he wants to learn how to merge modern Kalguran techniques with the ancient knowledge that he has found. From here on, Pharaoh joins in the Kalguran expeditions that Danig has been leading. With the ancient knowledge that Pharaoh brings to the table, the Kalguran expeditions that Danig has been going on will change significantly. For those of you who haven't played it, the Expedition League mechanic involves carefully placing explosives, uncovering the buried dead, and recovering verisium from them. By choosing where to place the explosives, you can choose which kind of challenges you'd like to face, or reward
Parce qu'en fait là ce qui est pas mal c'est que c'est à la fois un truc de min-maxeur dégénéré de softcore trade, mais en hardcore SSF ça permet quand même de supplémenter des builds qu'on joue aisément quoi. Sympa,
One
hein?
very important difference from the simple remnant encounters, though, is that the empowerments that the remnants grant apply to every monster down the explosive line for the rest of the encounter, stacking together. This can lead to some pretty extreme situations. If you stack too many remnants, you might be in for a fight beyond your abilities. But the
Il va falloir avoir la main légère
rewards,
quand même
very
en
worth it.
hardcore, hein.
Each
à
mod
mon
on the
avis. Hein.
monster is improving the items that they can drop. Once you get to the endgame, you will find that the Atlas has changed substantially.
Allez.
To the south, you will now find the coastline of Rayclast, with the ocean beyond. King's March has not fared well after the Cataclysm, and lays in ruins. Rog's shop has been destroyed, but he is much more concerned about his wife, Gwenyn. He would like to launch an expedition deep into the ocean to find her, and this begins a new major mechanic for expedition, exploring the ocean. Previously, a logbook was a single encounter. Now, using a logbook, you can send ships to explore an area of the ocean to the southeast.
Allez, vas-y,
Uncovering
l'océan
a range of
maintenant.
islands
L'océan est à
to
nous.
begin your search for Gwenyn. You can hop from island to island, doing many new encounters. There
Allez,
are islands with
vas-y.
expeditions, grand expeditions, new bosses, and all sorts of other unique things to find.
Bon, c'était l'Atlas infini qui contenait de la Terre, maintenant on a l'océan en plus de ça. Quoi.
Gwenyn has been holed up on. It turns out that she has found the tomb of an ancient Kalguran, Medved. While she appreciates you coming to her rescue, she is still keen to blow open the doors of the vault and take whatever you can find inside.
C'est Abyssal
It's
Depths
just a shame that
version
Medved
bleue,
isn't
quoi.
as
Voilà.
dead as you previously assumed.
Ah, c'est le mec de l'acte 4, un peu, ça.
Medved, you will find another logbook. And this time you can use it to choose which direction you want to explore. The ocean is vast and contains a huge number of new islands to find. With each
Bon.
logbook, you can explore one sector and you can go as deep as you like.
Je me demande comment ils vont combiner ça avec la
There are
Terre.
all sorts of interesting objects to uncover.
Dans le continent
dungeons
infini,
to
quoi, de
explore.
Recklast. Comment ils vont faire?
Many of the islands have expeditions with totally new mechanics. So for example, here is a volcanic island with voltaxic sulfite. Blowing up the sulfite will unleash extra waves of enemies. But there is also this wall with a suspicious light coming from behind it. On blowing it open, a giant ogre comes out, and he is determined to eat as much sulfite as possible. The more sulfite mounds that you have blown up,
C'est moi ou il est encore plus gros que dans l'histoire, là? Il est encore plus gros que dans l'Atlas? Que dans l'acte 4?
these islands contain all sorts of little secrets that you can find and blow up. Free trapped wisps, blow open root doors, even raise ancient precursor technology. And of course, more bosses. There are more and further vaults to blow up, and one of them in particular is pretty important. The Tomb of Uhtred, the Star Drinker. Uhtred was responsible for calling down the meteors of Verisium, which the Kalgurans used to power their ancient magic. And upon defeating him, he calls down a truly gigantic one into the ocean nearby. On visiting it, you find that it is shrouded by a strange energy emanating from the Verisium core of the meteor within. There is something growing in there, and it can't be anything good. In order to gain entry, Danik suggests that the Triskelion Flame, an ancient Kalguran artifact that can absorb and cancel the effects of Verisium magic, could be used to enter. But to find it, you will need to locate the Tomb of Olroth, leader of the Knights of the Sun. Defeat him and gain access to whatever eldritch nightmare is growing inside. Now, we're not going to spoil the boss, but one thing you should know is that the Verisium that makes up the core of the meteor is of a quality that has not been available for millennia. Bringing this to Pharaoh and Danik should allow them to forge some objects of power, the creation of which has been lost to time. So that's the League, and there is a lot going on. To sum all that up, there is a new encounter with over 30 new monster types and over 30 new rune modifiers to enhance them. You can create more than 100 new runes to craft your gear, as well as dozens of other new currency items. And there are new quests added to the campaign to unlock even more new crafting options.
J'aime bien, il y a tellement de trucs qui font un résumé à la fin de ce qu'ils viennent de dire, tu vois.
Upgrading uniques, dozens of new Kalguran skills and supports,
Et gratos, hein, les gars. Hein.
tons
Voilà.
of new islands to discover by exploring the ocean,
Pendant que les réditeurs de PO1 ont payé leur perso sur des Diablo 2 30 balles, nous on a ça
and
gratos.
a
Hein.
bunch of new uniques to top it off.
On est quand même bien servi. Hein.
There's still a ton more to come. It's time to talk about the massive changes to the endgame. But for that, I'll hand it back to Jonathan.
Now, as Mark hinted at before, the endgame atlas is very different now, and the ocean to the south is the least of the changes. The
Allez,
entire
le
area
list.
around your starting location is now teeming with new quest lines and things to discover. Will you
Allez.
investigate the strange forest to the west, the cracks in the earth to the east, or perhaps visit the ruins of a Val city in the north? The atlas now has
Extension
fixed points of interest at
géographique,
specific
vraiment.
locations, giving you specific objectives that are easy to find.
Et avec des quêtes à
Like
faire,
before,
etc.
though, no matter
Génial.
which objective you choose, going to towers to see what's out there is always a good idea. The first time you do that, though, something new happens. The earth shakes, and a gigantic fortress rises from the earth.
Ah, ça
A
vient de
remnant
là,
of
donc.
the ancient precursor civilization.
C'est bien amené quand même tout ça. Hein.
The cataclysm of the beast has caused an ancient protocol to be invoked. Should corruption ever take hold to this degree, the world must be scoured and purged of corruption. You'll need to make your way into the fortress and activate the gates. Gain the keys to reach these ancient precursor weapons, and disarm them. But this will be no easy task. The fortress has many areas to explore and many new things to find.
C'était quand même ce que les gens
You'll power
réclamaient le
ancient
plus. Hein.
machines,
Des trucs à faire, des quêtes, des choses qui aspirent un peu, qui servent d'inspiration pour le joueur, quoi.
discover many new areas,
D'aspiration, pardon.
and uncover some dark secrets. Now, the Fortress is the first of the new full in-game storylines that we're adding in 050, and there's a lot going on with it. But not only that, it has some pretty cool new mechanics as well. The areas inside the Fortress are special. Many of them have new mechanics or rewards that they grant. Like this map, where all the rares are contained in essence crystals.
C'était la map unique, ça, avant, ça, tiens.
Or this one, which replaces all monster packs in the area with strongboxes.
Mais ouais, voilà. Des directions vers lesquelles
Or this one,
aller,
which spawns
des
in as
quêtes
Mary
à
Spirit that always
accomplir,
moves
voilà,
on from a
des,
rare after you kill it, allowing you to chase it through the entire map.
un but à poursuivre, quoi. Voilà, ouais. C'est ce que beaucoup de gens réclamaient, même parmi ceux qui râlaient, qui étaient jamais contents. Hein.
Now, just like the normal areas of the Atlas, you'll need to fight the map boss of each area to complete the map. But unlike a normal map, the ones in the fortress each contain precursor nodes after the boss, and activating these nodes will give you points for the new and improved Atlas passive tree. Now, we had an Atlas passive tree before, but it was one of the areas of the endgame that just
Il y
wasn't
avait
up to
deux
scratch.
couleurs
The Atlas
de
tree now
lignes
works
là.
quite a
Hein.
lot differently.
Ça veut
We've
dire
significantly
que...
upgraded the kind of mechanics that you can find on the Atlas tree. Like this
Peut-être
one,
pouvoir
that
changer
gives a
les
chance
trucs.
to
Hein.
make rogue exiles you fight retreat from combat and move to an adjacent map. Before you fight them again, they'll upgrade their gear and come back with a grudge this time. There are also a lot of nodes that combine mechanics together in new ways, like this one, which lets Ismeri spirits possess strongboxes. All the
Oh,
regular
ça,
monsters that
ça
come
va
out
être
of them are
sale.
touched by the spirit, and the rares are all possessed, giving you some incredible loot potential.
Putain, Empyrean, ils vont s'amuser à faire des vidéos avec 10 spirits qui vont posséder les pires strongbox de l'histoire et faire des douches de loot, ça.
You get points from every single area you complete in the fortress, and unlike before, that means you can allocate the entire Atlas tree. Yes, this whole tree can be yours. This change is pretty important,
Ah ouais.
since it allows us to be able to create many types of bonuses
Ah oui, on peut
we
tout
weren't able to
avoir.
create before. Like this one, which gives a chance for cities to be invaded by another faction, and can even allow it to contain 2 faction leaders, allowing you to get 2 crisis fragments. If we'd done this kind of thing on the old tree, we would have wanted to spec into it before running a city map, then
Ouais,
unspec
alors
out of it before running
ça,
anything
ça va être
else.
bien rippy comme il
With full
faut. Hein.
allocation, we can have cool bonuses like these. Now, obviously, we still want to make sure that you have choices that define your in-game Atlas build. So many nodes in the Atlas tree are now multi-choice. Everyone will get the node,
Oh,
but
bien.
which bonus you choose to use is up to you. Do you want your powerful boss maps to contain more essences?
Plus de
summoning
customisation,
circles, or
nice.
exiles? But there's also nodes that contain more unusual things. So for example, on this node you can choose. Do you want to give a chance for shrines to instead be given to the map boss in the area, making them more challenging but dropping special loot? Or would you rather give a chance to be given a shrine buff before entering boss arenas, making for an easier fight?
Plus de points, plus de
Now, I
possibilités, on
could
peut
probably
tout
nerd out
allouer
about cool stuff in the tree
éventuellement.
all day. We should probably get back to the fortress.
Et
Now,
des
one of the really important
keystones
things we wanted
multi-choix,
to do
quoi.
was make it so that all the boss fights in the endgame are now accessible with a quest line. That means that to fight the Arbiter of Ash for the first time, you don't need to get lucky by finding keys. They will be in fixed locations and there's a quest to get them. But the Arbiter of Ash is no longer the pinnacle of Path of Exile 2. For that, you'll need to travel into the very center of the fortress. An incredible challenge awaits you should you choose to go there. After
Ok,
the
plus besoin de
storyline,
farmer
you
des
still
clés, c'est
unlock
pas mal
keys for
ça.
pinnacle bosses in the usual way, exploring the world and finding the keys required to get to them. But we have added a lot more interesting things to find out there as well. There are now all sorts of mechanics that can spawn on maps in the wilderness. For example, some maps might spawn as a rogue exile hunting ground, containing multiple rogue exiles who are there to hunt rare beasts. You might come upon them in the middle of a fight and be able to take out both of them. Or a map of
Franchement, pour
champions that
essayer
makes all the
de
natural
target farm
inhabitants of the
certains
area into
uniques, ça
magic
peut être une bonne
monsters.
idée. Hein.
Or this one that causes all shrines in the area to release as merry spirits when used. Once you have explored and found your keys, you can return to fight the pinnacle in the fortress again. But this version of him will be harder, and not only that, he will have new unique rewards as well. Each time you fight him, you get the ability to activate one section of the fortress, and any maps that you didn't finish there will be automatically completed, giving you all the Atlas points. So if you're the type of player who doesn't want to explore the fortress, and instead just race out into the infinite Atlas, you still have a way to get all those points. So that's the Origins of Divinity storyline.
Ah, ça peut se
It's a
rusher
huge
ça,
amount
ok.
of new content with a ton of new areas, 5 new bosses, including a pinnacle, with a bunch of new unique items. But not only that, it also completely revamps the Atlas tree, and includes a ton of new map mechanics that you can find both inside and outside the fortress. But this is just one of the new storylines. So let's talk about the next one now, Masters of the Atlas.
Ouais, parce que ça, c'est la première,
Earlier
le
we
premier
talked about how the
ingrédient. Hein.
monocuous nodes in the tree allow you to still have an in-game Atlas build, but we didn't think that was quite enough. You have an Ascendancy class for your passive tree. Why not an Ascendancy class for your Atlas tree? Well, that's where the Masters of the Atlas come in.
Bah ouais, pourquoi pas,
There
c'est
are many
après tout.
opportunities for those with the skills to find them. Atlas Masters are willing to train you in these skills if you're able to help them in return. One such master is Jado, a member of the Order of the Jinn, an organization that secures powerful artifacts to prevent them from falling into the wrong hands. Jado will send you on missions to investigate strange occurrences on the Atlas and recover the artifacts causing them. And for each one you recover, he will gain more trust in you and teach you more ways of the Order of the Jinn. At level 1, you could choose to massively increase the chance for rare and unique chests, or make it so that all map bosses drop an additional unique item.
Oh, bien pour farmer des
Or make
uniques
corrupted
ça,
waystones
en
have an
SSL, c'est
additional
bien ça. Hein.
modifier,
Bien, bien, bien. Hein.
but at the cost of making them send you to a totally unknown location. Each mission you complete for Jado will unlock another row of abilities and give you another point to allocate, letting you choose how you want to specialize. But there are other masters too. For example, Hilda. Hilda is a member of a guild of monster hunters. She will send you on missions to assassinate specific deadly creatures around Rayclast and harvest their parts. In exchange, she will teach you her monster hunting skills, like this one, which adds a 25% chance to upgrade any map boss to a powerful version. Or this one, which makes his Marian spirits no longer possess rare monsters, making them go for the unique bosses in the area instead. You might notice that many of the effects on these are both upsides and downsides. So Hilda, for example, can make it so that you only get one attempt when fighting pinnacle bosses, but in exchange for that, they always drop 2 uniques. Because of that, we wanted it to be easy to swap between them depending on what you're doing. As you unlock each master, they will appear on the side of the screen. Simply click whichever one you want to use to run the map, and all the bonuses you have selected for that master will be activated. This allows you
C'est
to
les
have a few
mini
different
atlas
strategies that you
qu'on
can
peut
quickly
changer
activate
dans le 1,
depending
c'est
on
un
what
peu
you're
ça.
running at the moment. Now, one thing that's been pretty obvious is that the in-game leagues we created when launching Early Access in 010 were not really up to the standard of the leagues we did since then. Fate of the Vaal and Rise of the Abyssal just have a lot more going on than Delirium or Expedition, for example. We wanted to do a serious upgrade to all of these mechanics before we do our 1.0 release, and so that's what we've done. All 4 of the leagues we launched in Early Access have been upgraded with not only new quest lines, but new mechanics, new crafting systems, new uniques, and new pinnacle bosses. One of the really important changes we made to all the leagues is that you can now find them on the Atlas in specific locations. And each one has a quest line that will lead you there to being able to complete the league.
Ils vont plus loin dans l'idée de la géographie d'un atlas.
This is true even for the leagues
Voilà,
that we
on peut
didn't
trouver
do
des
many
régions
quest
de
lines to.
ça.
So let's use Abyss as an example. When you first encounter one in the endgame, you'll get a quest that
Là,
leads you to
ça a
the
du
east,
sens, un
where
atlas
you'll
infini
find
comme
these
ça.
mega abyss cracks in the earth leading away from the Well of Souls. All the maps along the cracks will contain abysses with special properties, and mapping along these cracks will close the Atlas scale abysses, giving you points for the Abyss Atlas tree.
En plus,
At
ça a
the
de la
end of
gueule,
each
les
Atlas
petites
abyss,
animations
you'll
sur
find
la
an
map,
abyssal
là.
depths with the boss fight for one of the abyssal factions.
Des
Giving you a
raisons d'aller
guaranteed
plus
way to
loin et
fight.
d'explorer,
And
voilà,
after
ça c'est
completing all
formidable.
three, you'll get a key for the Well of Souls, allowing you to fight the Vessel of Kulamak. This kind of thing makes an in-game league so much more friendly for new players, giving people obvious goals and a guided experience to complete them. Alright, so let's talk about the first of the upgraded leagues, Delirium, and its new storyline, The Hare and the Raven. As you may remember, during Act 4 you were tricked into releasing an ancient entity from a Karui prison known as Tangmazu, the Raven Trickster. Tangmazu delights in breaking the minds of those who step through his mirrors, and when touching one, he will attempt to destroy your mind with twisted abominations generated from your worst fears. In Return of the Ancients, the first time you approach one of his delirium encounters in the endgame, you will find Elder Maddox locked in a trance. His mind is trapped in one of Tangmazu's delusions, and you will need to free him. Once free, Elder Maddox demands that as you caused this problem, you should put it right. He asks you to travel west to the Withered Willow, the location he believes that Tangmazu first gained his powers. But be careful. As you travel there, the Raven Trickster will attempt to break your mind. Each map around the Withered Willow features delirium encounters. Now this is more than a simple quest upgrade. The mechanic of delirium has been overhauled and expanded. At the bottom of the screen, there is now a bar that indicates how deep into delirium you are. You can see which direction leads deeper by looking at the fog, and the deeper you go, the more challenges you will face. By looking at the bar, you can see how long you have until the delirium ends. And you can also see special encounters that you will face if you're able to go deep enough into the fog. At the end of the bar is always the boss of the map, but we now have a variety of other encounters that you might find as you explore the horrors of your own mind. For example, you might encounter a purple mirror shard that when shattered will cause all the enemies to become more nightmarish. After hitting this, you'll notice the delirium demons are enhanced, significantly more powerful, larger, and scarier.
Ça a plus l'air d'être limité en temps par contre. Ça, ce serait formidable.
Should you encounter a red mirror shard, you'll be sent into the depths of your mind. And must escape it while fighting off hordes of your worst fears.
Si ça pouvait ne plus être limité en temps, ce serait formidable.
If you are able to do so, you will gain a powerful amulet with 2 instilled notables on it. Once you reach the Withered Willow, Elder Maddox discovers that a shard of the mirror is missing. You will need to track down Tangmazu and restore it if you have a hope of discovering how to defeat him, and that means entering the Raven Trickster's mirrors in an attempt to locate him. Each area around the Withered Willow contains delirium encounters, so that's a good place to start. As you do deliriums, some of the special encounters will drop liquid emotions. Normally these emotions can be used to instill amulets to add notable passive buffs to them, but in Return of the Ancients, emotions have a new function as well. Each one now has the ability to add crafted mods to jewels, allowing you to add specific mods to an item slot that can be quite difficult to roll.
Oh, ça pour moi, c'est très très bien.
Will allow you to add critical hit chance, while Liquid Suffering will allow you to add movement speed or area of effect to your jewels. But there are many more.
Target certains modes sur certains jewels. Ah, ça va être très très bien ça.
The location of a grand mirror, an entrance into Tangmazu's realm is revealed, but it won't be that simple to enter. Using his powers, he reflects the map boss for a ridiculous empowered fight, then destroys the entrance into his realm of madness.
Ah, par contre, ça a l'air rippy, hein, tout ça, hein, genre des mobs des boss doublés et tout.
In order to find him now, you'll need to let the insanity fully into your mind. A strange fruit is left behind which you can consume to fully embrace the madness in an attempt to reach the Raven Trickster's realm. Consuming the fruit will cover an entire area of the Atlas in fog, and every map you do in the fog will get progressively harder and harder as you explore the deeper reaches of your mind.
Oh, ça c'est les trucs du 1 là, les...
A simulacrum of your
Prenez
memories
quelques maps,
twisted and perverted by the Raven
Memory.
Trickster.
Ouais, les memories du 1.
Should you be able to complete the simulacrum, Tangmazu will believe that you are worthy of a true challenge, and will let you take the remaining shard of his mirror, allowing you to enter his realm of madness back at the Withered Willow. If you dare to face him, it will be a fearsome challenge.
Ah, putain, va y en avoir des rips sur tous ces nouveaux Pinnacle boss, hein, Fita.
That's the new storyline of Delirium. As you can see, it's not only a questline. There are new mechanics, new crafting options, and new boss fights.
Tout ça, c'est
But
pour
one question
une
you might have
mécanique,
is,
hein,
what
voilà.
happens after?
Il y en a genre 3 ou 4. Hein.
Well, once you've completed
pour
the
pas un
story,
rond,
grand
hein.
mirrors will start appearing on the Atlas sometimes after completing Delirium encounters. After doing the Grand Mirror, you can select where on the Atlas you want to do your fruit-induced drug trip and get another key to fight Tangmazu. But this time, the fight will be quite a bit harder. And not only that, the fight will be able to drop a bunch of new uniques that were not available in the questline version. We'll show some of those later. After doing a Grand Mirror, the decision of where to spread the fog can be important, because there are some potent emotions that only come from certain map bosses affected by Delirium this way. Like all emotions, they can craft special mods onto jewels, but these potent emotions can create mods that you
Ancient
can't get
Waystone?
any other way. So for example, Potent Liquid Melancholy is an emotion that can only come from human bosses, and allows you to add a variety of on-hit effects. Also, you might want to try instilling amulets with these emotions. They could have some interesting effects, with some powerful notables that do not normally exist on the tree. Like Storm's Rebuke, which makes armor break boost your cold and lightning damage. But also notables
Ah ouais, il y a
that clearly
carrément des
direct
nodes
line,
supplémentaires
like
qui sont
Karma's
pas sur le
Blessing.
passive
This
tree
skill
qu'on
allows
peut
you to
rajouter
ancestrally boost fire
avec cette
spells after
mécanique.
using a Warcry. How about using an ancestral Flame Blast?
Oh, ça c'est un build en entier, ça.
Now, just like before, you can also upgrade the League by getting points for a dedicated Delirium Atlas tree. But this now works in a much better way and has much cooler effects.
36
The
pour une
maps on the
unique,
Delirium
ok.
area of the Atlas give you Delirium passive points for completing them, so it's easy to see how to progress. Some nodes will add new types of mirror shard encounters to your Deliriums. Like this one, which will pause the Delirium for some amount of time, allowing you to more easily get to higher depths.
Ok, c'est toujours en
This
temps
one,
limité,
which adds
mais
extra
on peut
Delirium
ralentir hein,
modifiers to monsters
éventuellement.
when you pick it up. There are also nodes that can add new types of drops, like this one, which modifies simulacrum encounters to add special liquid emotions, which can craft time-lost jewels.
Ça, c'est pour
nodes that apply to the
Empyrean,
Atlas
ça.
mechanics of the League, like this one, which causes the Grand Mirror to spread Delirium fog over a larger area of the Atlas, potentially containing multiple simulacrums. Alright, so that's the changes to Delirium. The core mechanic now includes a bunch of new things to find, new monsters to kill, and has new mechanics on the Atlas.
Ouais, voilà, quand
It
il
also
parle
has
de
new
rework,
crafting
il se fout
system
pas de
for
la gueule du
jewels,
monde, hein,
and
quand même,
20
hein.
new unlockable notables for amulets.
Oh la
Not only
vache.
that, we have a new pinnacle boss with a bunch of new unique items and a massively upgraded Atlas tree just for Delirium. But there's still a lot more to come, so let's talk about Breach next. When you first do a Breach in the endgame, you will find Aelith, one of the Keepers of the Flame, an ancient order of monks dedicated to preventing the Hiveborn from entering the world. As you seem to be a keen slayer of demons, Aelith would like to recruit you to the order and asks that you travel to their monastery to the south.
Ah.
On the
On va
way
finir
there,
avec
you'll
une map
start
à
to
la
encounter
Heroes of
more
Might and
breaches,
Magic, tu vois,
and
après.
notice
hein,
one of the
c'est-
first changes to the breach mechanic. You still have to kill monsters as fast as you can to keep the breach open, but now you can visibly see how much time you have left to keep it open, and how each kill extends its duration.
Bon, c'est déjà
Once you've
ça.
reached the monastery, you will learn more about the Keepers. In the 25 years since the events of Keepers of the Flame in Path of Exile 1, the war with the Hiveborn has not gone well, and they have managed to establish a foothold in the world nearby. A gigantic area has fallen to the Scourge, and the Keepers are unable to get inside. Inside the monastery is the Genesis Tree, a powerful asset to the war effort, stolen from the enemy
Ils vont
and
importer
gifted to the
celui du
Keepers
1
by the
là.
Dreamer himself.
Oh, putain.
Using the tree, Aelith could create a breach stone and penetrate the Hiveborn foothold, but without Hiveblood, the tree has withered. To get Hiveblood, you will need to take advantage of another new mechanic of breach. If you can keep the otherworldly portal open for long enough, the breach will stabilize and will enter a new phase. The Hiveborn will send their toughest miscreations to defeat you, and the breach will not close until you can annihilate them, dropping
Ouais, c'est un
Hiveblood
peu
that you can use
Keepers
to
du 1,
restore the
quoi.
Genesis Tree. In some cases, you may even attract one of the deadliest foes the Hiveborn can offer, a Marshal of Zesht. These monsters also drop womb gifts, and if you take these to the Genesis Tree, they can be used to craft items to help you in the war against the Hiveborn. Given that 25 years have passed since the beginning of the war, the tree has grown and withered many times, but with each cycle it learns and expands its abilities. When you first open the Genesis Tree, you will notice these holes into which you can place your womb gifts. Each womb gift can be used to create a different type of jewelry.
Allez, vas-y, t'as tous les différents types, ok, voilà,
So for
machin.
example, you can place this amulet womb gift into the tree, and it will give birth to a random rare amulet. But the Genesis tree is capable of much more. As you continue to feed the tree, its branches will regenerate and allow you more and more control over what kind of items it will birth. So for example, this branch of the tree will allow you to control which base types of amulets can be birthed.
Ah, on target farm un peu certains objets, ouais, voilà, un peu.
And as you go
Bon, un
deeper,
peu comme dans le 1 là
it
pour
will
le
even
coup.
allow you to create new base types that you can't get anywhere else.
Et d'autres objets, d'accord.
Like this one, which gives you an entire spirit skill for free. Or this one, which has a rune socket in it.
Bon, après, il y a des trucs où en hardcore SSF, on va pas forcément les voir parce que c'est planqué derrière des trucs méga vénères. Mais
Including making sure that they're higher level, or controlling which specific mods that they will always
voilà,
have.
on contrôle de plus en plus
With 15
l'objet
points
qui
to
peut en
allocate,
résulter, ouais,
you will have to choose wisely how you want to specialize your crafts. But it's
évidemment.
worth noting that this tree doesn't have any cost to respecking it. You can enable or disable the nodes at any time by clicking on them. On rings, we've also added some really interesting new crafting options as well. You have a bunch of new base types like these, but you also have entire new classes of mods that can be added. The right-hand
Oui, il y
branch
avait
of
des
the ring
implicites
tree adds
sympas
an entire new
là-dedans,
set
hein.
of caster mods to rings. From basics like extra elemental damage for spells, or more niche options like this mod that increases the rate you gain seals for Unleash. And on the left-hand side, you can unlock an entire new set of mods for minion characters. This stuff is actually pretty important, because casters and minion builds didn't have as many slots with interesting item crafting compared to attack builds. The Genesis tree narrows that gap.
Oh, surpassing projectile pour les minions, ça peut faire des spécialisations
I
sympas,
won't go
ça.
over them too much here, but there are all sorts of goodies in these too.
Les minions
Like being able to
casters.
create new catalysts for jewels,
Puis, putain, et puis ça overlap avec tout ce qui existe déjà. Putain. Oh la vache. Bon, ça veut dire plein de power creep aussi, mais nous on s'en fout, tu vois. De manière horizontale aussi, ça veut dire plein de nouvelles possibilités qui se rajoutent pour le commun des mortels également. Ça veut pas forcément dire que du min-maxing débile.
Once used, the true extent of the Breach Demon's foothold becomes clear. They have not only transformed the land, but constructed huge sky hives as well.
Et voilà, ça donne du sens à
When you enter the
l'Atlas, tout
outskirts
ça,
of
c'est
their
formidable.
realm, you will discover breach hives. Using
Ah
the
bah
power of
voilà.
the Keepers of the Flame, these otherworldly structures can be burned away when walking through them. But for each
Ah,
one
c'est celle
destroyed,
du 1, ça,
more
voilà.
of the hiveborn will attack when you attempt to purge the hive.
Je me demandais quand est-ce qu'ils allaient les montrer. Hein. Ah putain.
These encounters are particularly rewarding for womb gifts, so you'll want to do as many of these as you can. But your real goal are the sky hives deeper into the domain. These twisted creations are securing the demon's entry into our world. Inside the very center are the Breach Lords Tool and Ash, and you'll need to defeat them if you want to get rid of the foothold
Permet de
once
la
and for all.
profondeur sans min-maxer. Bon alors après là je pense que tout le monde va gueuler parce que les gens vont se dire oui mais moi si je veux min-maxer une mécanique je suis obligé d'aller de région d'Atlas en région d'Atlas, vous voyez. Donc il y a probablement plein de gens qui vont être contre ça, mais
Destroy the sky hives.
les joueurs normaux on s'en bat le steak, hein. Je veux dire, t'as plus de diversité dans l'Atlas et des raisons d'explorer ce qui se passe et de tomber sur des choses. Dans l'exploration, c'est incroyable. Je vous en ai parlé plein de fois que c'était un peu ce dont je rêvais pour l'Atlas. Hein. Et évidemment, ouais, bah, toutes les mécaniques ont plus de points d'Atlas. Bon, et plus c'est encore plus chez Canal+, quoi, comme d'hab. Mais ouais, vraiment qu'on ait vraiment plein de raisons de l'existence de cet Atlas, quoi, voilà, d'avoir des régions entières. Mais vous m'avez entendu plein de fois parler de ça, et c'est ce qu'ils ont fait. Ce jeu est fait pour moi, je vous l'ai dit plein de fois.
Or this one, which lets you control which womb gifts you will get.
Et donc on target farm des wound gifts qui peuvent influencer les équipements qu'on spawn et compagnie et compagnie.
Which when returned to the Genesis tree will grow a grasping orchid on the side of it.
Ah.
You'll have to experiment
Regarde
to
mon
find out
stream,
what this
ça.
thing is good for. Putting rings on its fingers seems to make it happy. So that's a rundown of what you can expect from the new Breach.
C'est le stream de la vision. Voilà. On est vision friendly. Je vous l'ai toujours dit ici.
And Hiveborn incursions on the
Voilà,
Atlas.
pendant que d'autres vont aller chialer sur Reddit parce qu'ils vont dire « Ah, je me sens obligé de tout le temps farmer, on peut pas farmer à l'infini la même forteresse, etc. » Nous, on va
When you
s'éclater.
first complete a ritual in the endgame, Aoife, a lost spirit, will appear.
Allez, maintenant rituel, parce que c'est pas fini.
It isn't able to communicate more than a few words, beckoning you to come to the Wildwood. Like the other leagues, Ritual now has a place on the Atlas to call home. The Wildwood could be found to the west. When you first arrive there, Aoife's spirit will guide you in, where you will discover that inside the Wildwood, spirits can take physical form. Aoife has been bound to this place by the King in the Mists, and requests that you free her, but in order to do so, you will need her body, currently in possession of the King. To reclaim it, you will need to gain an audience with him. Inside the Wildwood, there are many ritual encounters to complete. Like before, in each area, triggering rituals will resurrect the nearby bound monsters to attack you, and killing the monsters will give you tribute. In addition, each ritual you do in the area will add the monsters from the previous ritual, making the encounters much more challenging the more rituals you complete.
Ah, c'était vraiment honteux d'avoir à attendre 4 mois et demi pour l'avoir, cette extension, gratuitement, hein, vraiment, GGG, c'est plus que c'était. Hein. Ah.
Making this league's rewards much more valuable than before. In order to gain an audience with the Nameless King, you need to sacrifice tribute to him. Any remaining tribute you don't spend can be sacrificed this way to fill up this bar. Once you have enough tribute for an audience, return to the Wildwood to divine his location with
Ok,
the
donc
Nameless Shrine.
exit les splinters dans
His
tous les sens.
location will be revealed deeper in the Wildwood, and you will need to make your way to him, kill him, and get Aoife's body. Using
Ouais,
her body,
petites
you can
animations,
attempt to
là.
release her spirit, but this is when you learn about the true threat of the League. The Wildwood is built on top of an ancient prison. The King in the Mists didn't gain his power out of nowhere. He was granted it by an ancient being of darkness known as the Bodark, and the Nameless King's use of this power has been causing
Alors,
the prison
au niveau de l'emballage, ça a quand même
In
plus
order to
rien à
prevent
voir
the
avec...
Bodark from entering the world, a champion will need to enter its prison,
Niveau qualitatif,
beat him
là,
back,
on a
but
passé un
those with a
palier, là.
name
Hein.
are unable to survive there. In order to do so, you will need to transfer your name to another with a new mechanic in the Ritual League, the Right of the Nameless.
C'est vrai qu'à chaque fois qu'ils veulent rajouter une mécanique comme ça, ils peuvent dire, bah tiens, ça se trouve à tel endroit de l'Atlas, et puis voilà. Hein.
But
En
that will
effet.
soon change. The final ritual of the area will include the map boss. And defeating him will give you a piece of the effigy onto which you will transfer your name. But the ritual is still not complete. Once the map boss is defeated, the Atlas will open, and you will need to pick another adjacent map to continue the ritual. During the rite, each adjacent map will have different rewards to tempt you. So for example, if you go in this direction, you gain significantly more tribute. But if you go in this direction, the uniques in the reward window will turn into currency instead. You can also sometimes get offered specific items that will be added as rewards. So in this case, you'll have to choose if you want to get 5 Chaos Orbs or a Mage Blood. A difficult decision, I'm sure. Now,
Ouais,
as
bon,
this is
ça
one
va jamais
continuous
arriver
ritual,
pour le commun des
the
mortels,
encounters in the
ça,
next
d'avoir
map
un
won't
Mage
start
Blood
from scratch. They
proposé.
contain all the monsters that were gathered from the rituals of the previous map as well, making them harder and harder. And that includes the map boss too. You will need to defeat both map bosses in the final encounter for your next effigy piece. And it still
Ah, bah,
doesn't end there.
putain.
Pick another map, another reward, and add another map boss to continue until the ritual of the Nameless is complete. It will take 5 maps in all, and will be an incredible challenge.
Putain, 5 boss de map à affronter dans un rituel, mais là par contre, ça va être illisible. Hein.
To perform the final rite.
Oh putain.
Transfer your name to the effigy.
Bon, ça par contre, à mon avis, il faudra choisir ses boss, hein, parce que ça va faire des combats absolument bordéliques. Plus l'effet du rituel, hein, donc...
Now, of course, once the pinnacle boss is complete,
oui, avec
the
la
league doesn't
tornade qui
end
te
there.
court après, etc. D'accord.
As you do rituals on the Atlas, you can continue to give tribute to the king in the mists for another audience. Pick another forest to begin the Rite of the Nameless once more, and this time with a harder pinnacle boss and new unique items to find. Of course, we've also significantly upgraded the Ritual Atlas tree. Get points by completing maps in the Wildwood, and you'll be able to unlock some pretty cool nodes. Some of them affect the Rite of the Nameless, like this one, which extends its duration. You thought fighting 5 map bosses at once was hard? How about 6? Or this one, which makes maps during the Rite have more reward mods, often having 2. You also have nodes that allow things to combine with other content, like this one, which gives a chance for rituals to be created inside summoning circles, adding a random boss to the ritual encounter. There is even a node which adds a new type of possible ritual, the Audience with the Queen, which causes the Bride of the King to sometimes appear. Okay, so that's ritual.
Ah tiens,
Let's have a look
la
at what this
Queen,
means for
la
in-game
reine qu'on
content
a
as a
jamais
whole
vue.
for Path of Exile 2. When you include the expedition changes made by the League, we have a total of 5 new in-game storylines, each of which has a hub, crafting systems, areas to explore, NPCs, and a pinnacle boss as a capstone. Not to mention the Masters of the Atlas storyline as well. But more importantly, you now have immediate quests as soon as you arrive at the endgame, and goals with obvious progressions that you can see how to finish. Each in-game questline has a progress bar that you can pop out from the side of the Atlas screen at any time, that shows you how far through you are, and buttons that will take you to the hubs for them. Overall, it's just a way better in-game experience with a significant number of fun objectives to complete. But just in case you didn't have enough goals, we did have one other thing that you might want to complete
Just
this
in
league.
case.
These are called challenge leagues after all. Where are all the challenges? Well, players of Path of Exile 1
Ok,
will be used
ça
to
y
the
est,
fact
ils ont
that
démarré.
each league comes with a series of challenges that you can complete in order to prove that you are indeed the best. We haven't done these yet in Path of Exile 2, but it's time to change that. If you're able to complete them, you'll earn pieces of the Knight of
Ok,
Alder
ça y est.
set. Opening the
Début des
challenge
Challenge
will show you a
League sur
series
Path of Exile
examples.
2. Allez, c'est bon.
After completing each one, anyone in chat or in the forums will be able to see your prowess. In addition, you'll get a statue to put in your hideout showing
Et bah
anyone
voilà,
you
ça y est,
trade
ça
with,
commence.
how many challenges
Et on
you
se rapproche de
complete.
1.0 quand même là.
You'll
Hein.
earn the first piece of the armor set after doing 2 challenges, and the full armor set after completing all 8. So that covers all the content you'll encounter in Return of the Ancients. But what about some new tools to fight against these new pinnacles with? Well, we also have some new Ascendancy classes as well. But to introduce them, I'll hand you guys back to Mark.
As Jonathan said, we have 2 new classes to show you today. The Spirit Walker and the Martial Artist. Let's start with the Huntress's new class, the Spirit Walker. The Spirit Walker has developed an affinity with the Asmerian animal spirits.
Putain,
She is
l'artwork, il
able to
est
infuse the
génial.
power
Hein.
of multiple spirits at her choosing. On the bottom part of the class, you will find paths for each wisp you would like to commune with, be they primal, vivid, or wild. Each one can give you different abilities that align with the stag, owl, or bear.
Ah, ça
Each
rend le jeu
ability
bien
gives
plus
you a
abouti,
method
c'est
to
ça.
become
Ouais.
possessed by wisps of that type, and a new ability when you spend them.
Bah, c'est qu'après, il reste à finir la campagne et t'as déjà un jeu méga solide. Tu rajoutes une classe ou deux un peu obligatoire comme le dueliste ou des trucs comme ça, et puis voilà. Hein.
Which adds extra projectiles and enhances the projectile speed of
Salut
your
tout bas
next skill.
31.
And the bear simply summons a giant bear
Après voilà,
companion to your
nouvelles
side.
ascendances, des bonus,
The bear
ça
will
on verra
maul,
un peu ce que ça donne, mais
slam, leap, and do intimidating roars to debuff your enemies. Now you can specialize more into each of these wisps, but if you want to combine all 3 of them, then a new hidden power will be unlocked, the power of the Sacred Wisps. This node is free, and enhances the quality of all 3 of your spirit
ça donne quoi? T'as raté le début? Ah, je te regarde la VOD tout va 31 parce que là, pour tout expliquer, c'est un truc de taré. C'est juste un truc de malade mental. C'est tout ce que je veux dire. C'est du fat, voilà. T'as tout loupé, ouais, globalement, à peu près. T'as tout raté. Oh, mais c'est tout ce que je souhaitais en live. Tout ce que je vous ai dit dans tous mes streams pendant des centaines d'heures de stream, où je vous ai dit ce serait bien qu'ils fassent ceci, qu'ils fassent cela, machin, et bah ils sont tous allés dans cette direction. Ils ont tout fait exactement ce que je souhaitais, quoi. Et mec, on a un putain de endgame, voilà, avec des quêtes, des trucs qui sont géographiquement localisés, des pinnacle boss, des questlines, etc. Enfin, ça y est, c'est de la folie, quoi.
Or then there's a giant frozen owl beast, Rakar, the Frozen Talon. There's so many choices. You're going to have to experiment a bunch with this one, and I'm very excited to see what bosses you all choose to have as your trusted boss companion. Next up, we have the monk's new ascendancy class, the Martial Artist. After decades of training, he has mastered 3 of the 7 Hollow techniques. Channeling Hollow Form technique allows the martial artist to create illusions of himself, which then use a skill of your choosing. Perfect for turning skills with less area of effect into ones that can obliterate packs with ease. Should you find yourself overly vulnerable while channeling, you might want to take Way of the Mountain, which causes you to be covered in stone when you immobilize enemies, mitigating large amounts of damage.
Alors ça va donner lieu à des builds complètement débiles sur internet, je vous le dis tout de suite.
Even more damage. After taking Hollow Focus technique, you can manifest your spiritual energy into objects. In this case, bells, which will appear around the martial artist and can be shattered by any of his attacks, even ones from the Hollow Form technique earlier. Hollow Resonance technique furthers that by adding a manifested bell to your back, which rings each time you deal a critical strike, damaging all enemies around you. Through all the martial artist's thorough training, he has mastered the flow of internal spiritual energy too, and has engraved runic tattoos around his meridians. By doing this, he can gain the benefit of extra runes. Just open your inventory and add the runes.
Oh, tiens,
There
c'est
is one
marrant
that
ça.
counts as a helmet, 2 as a body armor, 1 as gloves, and 1 as boots.
Sachant qu'on a 100 nouvelles runes là dans le jeu.
Finally,
Hein.
your hands, the ultimate expression of a master of the martial arts. Taking Way of the Stone Fist will cause your gloves to become a new base type when equipped. Each modifier on the original pair of gloves has an equivalent, more powerful, and more impactful modifier. For example, these gloves add some physical damage, cold damage, lightning damage, some resistances, and life gain on hit. Now, when I equip these, they become literal fists of stone, and not only grant me a bunch more evasion and energy shield, they now also grant a lot more damage, some maximum resistances, and a significantly higher amount of life gained on hitting enemies. With all the different rune combinations you could do, and the different modifiers on gloves, there's a ton of different build options, and we're
Putain, mais
looking
ça c'est
forward
le
to
genre
seeing what you can
d'ascendance,
come up
tu peux faire 350 builds différents avec ça
Now,
quoi. Hein.
with
Putain,
so
la
many
vache.
new bosses in Return of the Ancients, of course we want to have a huge number of unique rewards. There are some pretty cool things in here, so we wanted to show you a few of them. Twisted Empyrean is a 2-handed mace made from the purest of Verisium, combined with the beast's corruption. It converts all of your mace's skills fire damage to cold.
Oh,
and
c'est
visually
bien que ça
does
se
so
voit
too,
physiquement.
turning your volcanic fissures into glacial ones.
Ça, ouais, c'est le genre de petit truc, ça a l'air de rien, mais le fait que ça se voit, l'effet de l'unique, ça rajoute un flair, un petit quelque chose quand même, qui fait que t'as vraiment l'impression de jouer autre chose. Le fait que les fissures, juste elles deviennent bleues, c'est con, mais ça rajoute tellement de cachet.
Midnight Zenith. This skill causes your critical hits to grant Arctic petals that hover around you. Once you have acquired enough of these petals, they will be consumed, creating a floral ice crystal near an enemy. Then, destroy that crystal to do devastating cold damage to everything around it. The Raven's Flock is a staff perfect for minion characters. Not only does it grant spirit reservation efficiency and minion damage, it also allows your minions to inflict grueling madness on hit.
Ouais, alors ça veut dire Mage Blood Rarity, ça. Hein. Ça va être méga rare. Parmi pas mal d'uniques, je pense qu'il y en a beaucoup qu'on va jamais voir de notre vie, hein, mais bon, c'est pas grave. Avec les uniques, on le sait.
Killing enemies, or just by standing near unique enemies, causes the flock to grow, getting larger and larger.
Ça a quand même de la gueule hein, ce qu'ils font avec les objets uniques hein, sur le 2.
That's not all, however. These
Ah,
ravens
Pox.
are also minions.
Bon voilà,
So
Pox,
they
tu l'as
fully
ton
scale
Righteous
with minion
Fire là,
damage
maintenant ça y est
and
là.
come with their own command skill, Mad Flight. This command skill causes your flock to create a tunnel of deathly damage between a set of illusory mirrors, obliterating anything in between.
Bon voilà, Pox il a son Righteous Fire finalement.
Horror's Flight is a pair
Planqué
of
derrière
gloves
un unique
instilled
quand
with
même.
the purest of fear. Equipping these causes your enemies to become terrified of you. These gloves cause you to gain stacks of fear incarnate when you cull enemies. To aid in your culling, these gloves also come with the skill Crushing Fear. This is similar to the monk skill Killing Palm, except it deals chaos damage, and the amount of damage and area of effect scales drastically based on the power of the enemy.
Par contre, c'est vrai qu'il y a beaucoup de choses qui présentent qui vont un peu dans la direction du 1 pour les softcore traders qui vont mettre 500 divine dans leur build, hein, ça c'est clair. Mais bon, du moment que si on a envie de jouer avec du gameplay, on peut. Ah, ça ira. Hein.
Sylvan's Effigy is a scepter for those wanting to run companions. It allows you to have any number of companions of different types, instead of the normal restriction of just one per type. But what makes this cool is the Asmerian wolf companion it comes with. This is a persistent minion that bites foes to maim them, leaps to cause bleeding, and even howls to buff nearby allies. Additionally, it comes with the command skill Eternal Hunt, which when used it will howl, calling on the spirits to manifest spectral wolves to ambush all foes around you. Liminal Coil is a crazy wand. It allows you to apply as many curses as you please, but those curses will have no effect. What's the point then? Two reasons. Firstly, your spells gain a bunch of extra physical and chaos damage for each curse on enemies. Secondly, is the skill it grants called
Require level 90, je suis pas sûr qu'on ait déjà eu des objets uniques comme ça, donc ça veut dire des trucs méga rares. Hein.
What makes this skill truly special though, is that it will split and chain through every cursed enemy, causing an absolute ruckus. See for yourself.
Ouais, ça c'est Pass of Exile 1 Blast, pas possible, mais bon, level 90, ça veut dire que ça va être méga rare et méga cher.
And all elements can cause all ailments. The coolest thing about this bow, however, is the Asmerian Swarm skill.
Ouais, mais planquer ce genre de truc derrière un objet unique, moi c'est pas trop grave. Moi ça me dérange pas.
And inflicting a debuff on them that boosts your elemental damage even further. Watch as you mow enemies down, and the swarms of Asmerian wisps aid you, melting enemies one screen at a time. The Ordained is a new spear, mastering in physical and lightning damage, with high critical strike chance too. This spear allows you to leech life not only from physical damage, but lightning too. It also creates a fragment of divinity nearby periodically. What are those? Well, this spear has the skill Righteous Descent, which is an epic divine leap, aided by angelic wings. If you use this skill when a fragment of divinity is nearby, it will become empowered.
Vraiment, la créativité au niveau des objets uniques, elle est quand même incroyable hein, par rapport au 1. C'est que là, chaque objet unique qui présente, c'est vraiment mais un truc de malade à chaque fois, quoi. Et c'est pas juste un gimmick à la con, quoi. C'est carrément un archétype de build entier, quoi.
Voices is simple. It consumes one jewel slot to add more. There are versions that add 2 jewel slots, 3 jewel slots, and for those who are absurdly lucky,
ça c'est pour Empyrean encore une fois, ça va être 10 miroirs, celui à 4.
Equip it and notice the slots appear next to your character's portrait in the center.
Et alors ça pour les min-maxing de trucs débiles, ça va être incroyable.
How long it takes for experienced players to replay through the game in each new league.
As we learned from Path of Exile 1, one of the things that can really help is having elements in the campaign that tell you where to go, if you know what to look for. We'll cover just one example per act for acts 1 to 3, but there are many more than just these.
Les petits indices visuels, c'est ça?
For example, Hunting Grounds in Act 1 is a large, sparse area. containing multiple entrances and landmark encounters. Here's an example of some of the changes we've made here. Finding the ritual encounter in this area isn't too difficult. Now, after completing it, a trail of locusts will lead to the entrance to Freythorn. Just follow it and find the source of the evil. You may also find corpses of dead animals, killed and pecked at by the crowbell. You'll
Un
notice
peu
a
comme,
trail of
comme dans
blood
le
leading
1,
away
des
from
petits
them.
indices visuels
Follow the
pour
trail,
progresser.
and it will lead directly to the boss. We even put a signpost on the road to tell you which way to go to find Ogham Village. In Act 2, in the Mastodon Badlands, you need to find the Lightless Caverns and track down the Abyssal. Now, to make this quicker, in the level you'll find these cracks.
Tu vois, c'est bien parce que c'est quand même toujours intradiégétique, c'est toujours élégamment incorporé, c'est toujours des choses qui font sens, quoi. C'est pas la Ubisoft, quoi, t'as pas une flèche au-dessus de l'écran, c'est des petits indices visuels mais qui restent sensés dans l'univers.
They are now even more useful. By talking to the explorers, they will point towards the next area. Not only that, but it will also reveal it on the minimap, so you can know exactly where to go. These are just some examples.
Ouais, la peinture
We plan
jaune,
to do
merci
more
Ubisoft.
and more of these over time in order to streamline the experience. Now, as this is an in-game expansion, it makes sense that we would work on Atlas QOL. We've added a search box that updates live as you type. Have a specific
bien,
map
ça.
you want to run? Now, they will be much easier to find. If there are
Super.
multiple maps, hitting enter will move you from map to map.
Oh, cool.
Now, making a character build in Path of Exile 2 can be pretty complex. And instead of designing a build yourself, many players enjoy following online build guides.
We have a pretty awesome community that has built many tools over the years for designing builds, but we wanted to improve the experience of following them.
So, we are introducing a new build guide system directly into the game client.
Ouh, ça c'est un changement majeur.
Community creators who write build guides can now create a new file format. A build
Alors
file.
ça c'est un truc dont beaucoup de gens
Once
rêvent.
downloaded, the builds appear in the in-game client, and selecting one will show you everything
In-game
you need
build
to know
planner,
to
alors
make
ça
that
je peux
build.
vous dire, il y a des gens qui en rêvent,
So
mais
you can
depuis le
see
début
all
du
the
1
passives
ça.
you need to allocate, ascendancy points you need to take, skill gems you need to equip, and recommendations for all the support
Perso
gems
je
you
m'en
need to
fous, mais
use
ça
as
je peux
well.
vous dire qu'il y a des gens qui en rêvent,
For
mais
items,
depuis
the
des
build
années et
designer can
des années.
specify
Hein.
which uniques to use in each slot, or if needed, just add some notes to the item slot to say what kind of item you need.
Ça,
fact,
in-game
build creators
build
can add
guide,
notes
ça je
to
peux vous
just
dire que
about
ça
any
tout
of these
seul, ça va
areas,
calmer Reddit un peu.
allowing
Hein.
them to explain different trade-offs in context, or just give more info about how these things should be
Ça
used.
va faire plaisir à Reddit, vous voyez, par exemple.
They can also give level ranges to each element, allowing recommendations to change over time. Great for builds that need to respec after they reach a certain level.
Now, all of this is written in a standardized build format that creators can use, and we imagine that a lot of community build tools will be updated to add support for this format.
Now that we have trade market searching built into the in-game client, we have added the ability to price check items you can find more easily. Control-Alt-clicking an item will now search for it on the trade market, showing you the current prices. For rare items, it's handy to exclude some mods, so we added the ability to enable and disable each mod so you can see what effect each one has on
Ah
the
ça,
price.
ça va peut-être signer l'arrêt de mort de la catégorie Pass of Exile 2 sur Max
Next up,
Roll, mais
we're
bon,
going to be
personnellement, ça
talking
emballe le
about the
steak.
new
Hein.
supporter packs for Return of the Ancients.
Tu vas pas me faire croire qu'ils sont
Today,
foutus de la gueule du
we're
monde, là.
launching
Il y en a
two
pour
new series
tout
of
le monde.
support packs, the Blood Reaver and Divinity packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive
putain, mais-
microtransactions. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic.
Sur
and do
Reddit,
not
les mecs,
affect
ils
your
vont trouver le
character's
moyen de
power
râler,
or
mais
progression
rien
in
que
any
ça,
way.
le
The Blood
in-game
Reaver
build
series of
guide,
supporter packs contains
où tu peux
6
importer
exclusive
ce truc-là, mais je vous jure,
Let
mais
blood
depuis
fuel your blood shield.
les tout
The
premiers jours de Pass of Exile 1, les mecs ils demandaient à pouvoir préallocate les trucs, etc., importer un format de fichier pour même plus avoir besoin d'alt-tab. Les gens, ils en rêvaient depuis tout le temps, mais depuis toujours. Quoi.
These blood orbs will
Donc,
grow in size when you absorb more
ils l'ont
blood
fait dans le
from
2.
nearby enemies.
Très
There are
probablement
options
qu'après
to
ils vont
have pure
importer
blood
ça dans le 1.
charges, or charges that
Merci,
still display
Path of
which
Exile
kind of
2,
charge
hein.
they are at their core. A taste for blood doesn't negate a taste for style.
Ah la vache.
The elite Blood Reaver armor
Personnellement, j'en ai rien à battre, mais je sais que par contre, il y a énormément de gens qui en rêvaient de ça depuis fort longtemps, je peux vous le garantir. Hein. Depuis le temps que je suis GGG.
Alongside every Blood Reaver is their trusted
Ouais,
gargoyle
supporter
pet.
pack et puis.
In
puis
true
voilà, quoi.
gargoyle fashion, they take the form of a
Mais
stone
ouais,
statue when you
Oh
are
là là, non mais le truc c'est que là il y en a pour absolument tout le monde là, voilà, c'est même les softcore traders, redditeurs, on va dire voilà un peu neuneux et un peu bornés, là ils ont quand même 2-3 features de leur rêve, je veux dire. Ils savent que ces gens-là, ils crachent sur leur atlas, etc. Donc voilà, tu leur donnes ce truc-là, mais ils sont tellement contents et tu peux contrôle-clic un objet pour que ça le mette directement dans le trade. Ça, c'est vraiment des trucs de qualité de vie qui sont réclamés, mais depuis tellement longtemps que simplement le fait de le donner, ça permet de leur filer leur nonos à ronger, quoi. Alors. Bon là je regarde de manière un peu distraite parce que bon les supporters packs c'est voilà c'est le petit plus quoi mais
The Divinity Pack series also contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. Call on Divinity to aid you in eluding enemy
0.5 là c'est rework du endgame mais là c'est vraiment ils ont franchi un palier stratosphérique là avec ça. C'est il y a plein de gens qui aiment pas simplement l'esprit de l'Atlas de Path of Exile 2, qui aiment pas joli portail, qui aiment pas le fait de pas juste boucler la même map et de la juicer à mort jusqu'à l'infini, mais au moins ils gardent cet esprit là et ils vont vraiment plus loin quoi. Ouais. Il y a toujours des fans de Diablo 4 dans la communauté là. Ils sont où là les voilà. Vous avez eu quoi avec la nouvelle extension et pour combien sur Diablo 4 là voilà ce qu'on a gratos nous voilà. Voilà 25 € une classe sur Diablo 2 hein, avec Blizzard voilà donc nous tout ce qu'ils ont montré c'est complètement gratos et sur Reddit tout le monde râle parce que les mecs ils ont mis 4 mois et demi pour la sortir quoi. Bon ça fera 5 mais ouais 2 mois et demi, faut enlever 2 semaines à cause de Noël quoi parce que ça compte pas Noël. Ils sont tous en vacances à ce moment-là. Oh là là, il aura fallu attendre 4 mois et demi pour avoir tout ça gratos, quoi. C'est vraiment insoutenable, vraiment. Path of Exile 2, c'est vraiment le pire jeu. Moi, je suis sur Diablo 4. Ouais. Et le 29 mai, tu seras où? Voilà. Les Blockheads ont fait du bon boulot, ouais, ici aussi ils ont fait du bon boulot et gratos, tu vois. Donc, là, c'est pas du bon boulot tout ce qu'ils ont montré, tu verras la VOD tout bas 31 parce que t'as tout raté quoi globalement. Quand tu verras la VOD ou tu regarderas juste la vidéo où ils te montrent tout, le rework et tout, de tout. Oh là 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 là. Alors ce que c'est que du bon boulot quoi. Eux ils te montrent ce que c'est que du bon boulot, c'est un autre niveau, on joue pas dans la même cour là tu vois.
So that's everything in 050. This is by far the biggest update we've ever made to PoE 1 or 2. New in-game storylines, pinnacle bosses, crafting systems, items, ascendancy classes, and so much more.
La plus grosse qu'ils aient jamais fait dans Path of Exile 1 ou 2 combinés, mais ça je veux bien les croire, c'est stratosphérique.
050 will be released in 3 weeks on May the 29th, with the patch notes being released on the Friday before that, on May 21st. But there's just one more thing to talk about. Now that the endgame is up to scratch, we have to start talking about our plan for 1.0 release.
Oh.
The feedback we've had during early access has been critical for making all the improvements that we'll be making to the game. At the same time, we had to create enough in-game content to make an ARPG that can call itself a successor to Path of Exile 1. Well, with 050, we now believe we have reached that point. And so this is going to be the last full-size league during early access. That's right. The next big update is going to be 1.0.
Quoi?
Now, normally we would do our next big content release in August, but in the run-up to full release, our plans take a little longer on this one. As big as 050 is, 1.0 is even bigger. So we'll be launching 1.0 this year sometime after ExileCon. But that doesn't mean we won't be doing updates in the meantime. In this final phase, we have a lot of things to polish throughout the game and balance to improve.
La 1.0
I'm sure there'll
cette
also be
année?
feedback about the new endgame that we need to incorporate too. The difference is that the focus is not going to be on adding more content like the previous updates, it's going to be on improving what we already have. But we still want to encourage people to try out all the balance changes and improvements that we're making. So we're going to be running a few event leagues during this phase alongside each update. Think remixes of existing mechanics or features. And speaking of ExileCon, don't forget to pencil it in on the weekend of November the 7th in New Zealand. ExileCon is a gathering of our players, and a chance for us to showcase everything we've been working on for both Path of Exile 1 and 2.
La
And this one will be particularly
prochaine, ce
important
sera la
for us, as we
1.0.
finally get to
Quoi?
unveil some of the coolest content we've been working on for a
Quoi?
while now with Act 5 and 6. Tickets for the in-person event are currently sold out, but don't worry.
What?
All the announcements and talks are going
Ah
to
mais
be
les
streamed
mecs ils sont
online for all you to
confiants
watch.
là.
Now, I'm
Il,
personally
il
so
vient de
excited
lâcher
for
une
this.
bombe
This is the
Jonathan
year
là.
that PoE 2 comes out. The campaign is finally finished. It's been 8 years to get here, but we're finally near the finish line. And with that,
Okay.
it's time to move on to our live Q&A.
Ok, donc ils ont fait... Officiellement, ils ont fini la campagne, là, ils la mettront au test à l'ExileCon, et puis après, bam, ils la sortent, quoi. Pop, 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 pop. Mais la bombe qui vient de nous larguer Jonathan à la fin, quoi. Putain. Oh la vache, je coupe juste 2 secondes, hein, là, pour nous remettre. Mais putain, mais en plus, la petite phrase à la fin, vous savez pas, bah en fait, c'est pour cette année, quoi.
Down for a nice long Q&A.